It was easy for you being a foreigner trying to make business here with Korean people?
I used to be part owner of a model agency, 5 bars and 2 restaurants with Korean people. It's not easy to work with Korean people. I mean, you have to understand that in Korea, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, there was nothing. But it's important to me because I don't think that everyone needs to struggle the way that I struggled just because they're a foreigner.
They think in a very different way.
Maybe you just don't understand business. That's right, here's the thing. Like, I might seem negative about certain things, but I've been here for 22 years. I wouldn't be here for 22 years if I thought it was a shit place. And they would like touch my arms or touch my chest, and it's like seeing like a wild animal. I'll get naked and right on my body, come to my restaurant, I'll do what it takes, you know?
Yeah.
Esta entrevista estará dividida en 3 partes. En la primera hablaremos sobre las cosas que nadie te cuenta sobre Corea del Sur. En el segundo vídeo veremos a qué se dedica James como artista en Corea. En la tercera parte visitaremos algunos de sus negocios. Recuerda apoyar el contenido, cada like suma. Deja tu comentario y compártelo con tus amigos. Ahora disfruta del vídeo.
Mi gente, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos? Estamos en la siguiente entrevista. Últimamente estamos haciendo cosas un poco interesantes y estamos como cambiando un poco lo que viene siendo el panorama. Pasamos un poco de hablar español a de repente hablar inglés. Hoy tenemos una persona bastante especial. Today I came for visiting for the first time James.
All right, I'm James. I've been living in Korea for 22 years. I'm from the United States, but my mom's from Colombia, my dad's from Brazil.
I didn't know about that.
That's why I told you that I understand Spanish, no problem. Yeah, mi mamá es de Colombia, mi papá es de Brazil. That's why.
Okay.
I came to Korea when I was 19, working as a professional model. Did fashion industry for a very long time. And now I'm an artist, designer, still model, and I own a couple businesses here in Korea.
Bro, you just tell me like a couple of minutes ago, but I wasn't paying like, you know, full attention. Colombian and Brazilian?
Yeah.
Shit. ¿Podemos hablar español?
Sí. Puedo en todo, pero para hablar es un poco difícil.
Yeah, I know it's so difficult. We've been talking about this, and it's because he speaks Korean so well. So your mind is like kind of crazy right now because you speak like English and also Korean, like.
So when you learn Spanish, or like Spanish was my first language. So when I hear it, I don't need to translate it in my brain. It just comes in like a language that I understand.
Okay.
But when I want to speak Spanish, it comes in English, and then I translate it to Spanish, and then my mouth wants to speak Korean.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's the problem for me, like for speaking Spanish.
Yeah, gotta be difficult.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't practice with anybody. It's now like in the last year that I got so many Latin friends and Spanish friends here in Itaewon. But before that, I was like feeling like I was the only one. Nobody spoke Spanish.
Yeah. I think same happens to me because I speak Spanish, but I was born in Romania.
Okay.
So I speak Romanian, but it's kind of like weird for me because I speak Romanian, but same as your Spanish. I understand every single thing in Romania, but I don't speak Romanian like, you know, just because my English and Spanish just comes to my mind and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, right. It gets
Like
all mixed up.
So you've been here for like 22 years living in Korea.
Yep.
Oh, can I ask you, why do you move here?
So when I was 19, I moved here working as a professional model.
With 19? Fuck.
Yeah.
So you were one of the first models
Yep.
coming to Korea? No way.
Yeah, I was actually the first man model for Hyundai Home Shopping. Before they had female foreign models for a long time, but for foreign men models, I was the first one in this country.
That's kind of crazy because now it's something like very normal. Every single, you know, the easiest way for living in Korea is trying to get the E6 visa, it's like modeling, and that's it. Like, okay, do it. But at the same time, I think now, you know, the prices, there's a lot of people trying to work like modeling, and now the prices is getting low.
Yeah, the industry is completely destroyed because so when I came as a model, to get an E6 visa was almost impossible. You'd get C4 visas, which was for 3 months, and then you can extend it to 6 months. If you wanted to get an E6 visa, you had to have a contract in a TV show or something like that. In 2007, I started my first TV show on NBC, and it was every Friday night, you know, on national television. And so that's when I finally got an E6 visa, but that had already been like 5 years, you know, 6 years just on a C4 visa. Now, if you have some money, you just buy your E6 visa, and that's also why the industry was destroyed. People think that just because they can buy a visa, they belong in the industry.
Yeah.
If I can buy a license to be a lawyer, doesn't mean that I can go to court tomorrow and win a case.
Sure. Yeah, I'm agree with that. Yeah, actually, for the first time when I came here, someone was trying to sell me my visa, and I said no. First of all, it's illegal. You cannot buy.
Right.
Like that's the first thing. And the second thing, like you said, if you buy the E6 visa or any visa, it doesn't mean you belong to this industry. So
Right.
I want to do the things in a positive way. I don't want to do like bad things,
Right.
especially for living here, because I don't want them to kick me out. Like
If your agency believes in you, if your agency believes they're gonna make money from you,
Sure.
they will just handle your visa. And they charge you $2,000, $3,000, but it actually costs less than $100 to do all the paperwork for the visa.
Yeah, it's not
like
too much.
60, 70 bucks, you know? So they know that you're not gonna work. That's why they want to get the money from you in advance, you know, 2,000, 3,000, and then that's it. But if they know that you're going to be a working model or a working entertainer, they just handle your visa because they know they're going to get their money back.
I'm not gonna say the name, but this girl, she told me 2,000 euros by
Yeah.
paying. You
Right.
pay this in 3 months, you can be here. But there's nothing to prove that I just paid 2,000 euros. You know,
Yeah.
I'm never paid for this fucking shit. But then at the end, maybe they can just disappear.
Well,
With your money, like
yeah, I mean, that did happen actually to one of my friends.
really.
Yep. Because the thing is that after you apply for your visa, you can't get your visa in Korea, which means that you have to leave first. So they took his money. They said they were processing his visa, so he had to leave. And then they didn't process it. Like he kept messaging, when is it? It's delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed. And then he found out that
Yeah.
they just took his money.
Take care, guys.
Be
Okay,
careful.
so you've been here for 22 years, but I mean, maybe I might know the answer, but I mean, did you do the military service?
No.
Not really.
No,
You
no.
didn't have to do it.
In Korea?
Yeah.
Only Korean nationals have to do military
Only
service.
Korean national. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm American citizen, so I
Uh-huh.
don't have to do it, no.
Okay, so you've been living like 22 years. You had to do like a lot of things here, like a lot of business, a lot of like modeling, art. Actually, you're an artist right now.
Yeah.
You can describe yourself like an artist.
I've been doing artwork for probably about 7, 8 years. And it wasn't until I was able to pay for everything with my artwork that I, started to say that I was an artist. But I think that's the important thing. I mean, a lot of people like to do certain things, but if you're not able to support yourself doing that by itself, then it feels more like a hobby. You know what I mean? Yeah, now I support myself 100% with only creative endeavors.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with that. Your kind of things, the things you're doing is more like, artist. But at the same time, I think making video, like content creator at the same time, maybe it's not at the same level, but for me, it's like, maybe we're gonna like disagree with this, but for me, it's like making video, content creator, photography, video, just kind of things. I think it's also art in some way.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree with you, because the thing is, anybody can be an artist, anyone can be a content creator, but it's only the ones who are creative, the only ones that have the artistic mind to make themselves unique from someone else can be successful, and that means they can pay for their life doing what they want to do.
Okay.
And that's when you can say, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a content creator. I don't want to hear someone tell me they're a YouTuber, but they spend 40 hours a week teaching English. No, you're an English teacher, and sometimes you make YouTube videos.
Yeah, as a hobby.
Right.
But when you start to focus like 100% all your fucking time, 24 hours doing the only thing, the thing you love, and yeah, in this case, your I can say painting?
Yeah, painting, art installation, fashion designs, custom designs, anything creative, to be honest, interior design.
Anything just comes to your mind is like,
Yep.
I can do it.
Yep.
Wow, that's cool. You came here for doing modeling, so you start at modeling, but also what kind of things did you have to do? You told me that you can speak for anything because you did like a lot of things in Korea.
Yeah, right.
What kind of things?
So I started off modeling, and when I came to Korea, I didn't really have that many friends. So I met one dude, and he was a guitar player, and he said, let's make a band. I said, shit, I don't know how to play any instrument. What are you talking about? Let's make a band. He gave me a bass guitar. He said, it's easy, just like doom, 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 doom. I said, come on, it's not that easy. And he said, no, we're gonna play punk rock music. It's that easy. So he was just like, play this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And before you know it, like he starts playing the guitar and it works. I was like, what the fuck?
Bro.
And so we made a punk rock band. And after a couple months later, we got sponsored by a Korean company, which is called Who Are You, with California Who Are You, which is basically like Korea's Abercrombie & Fitch. You know Abercrombie & Fitch? Or Hollister, or this kind of like beachy kind of vibe, like
Hollister? Yeah.
Anyways, it's like that kind of like fashion brand, Korean made. And so we were touring their shops throughout Korea. And then after we were doing that, the road manager for one of the most famous hip hop groups at the time, and then asked us to play for them. And so then I got into the Korean music scene. So I would go with this Korean hip-hop band to all of their shows, and we did music videos and things like that.
It had to be crazy coming here like 22 years ago, but no like foreigner people was here. Like working in the same company, same industry as you. I mean, it had to be difficult for you trying to find like, you know, friends or just foreigner people to speak in English because you might not speak Korean so well in that time?
There was other foreign models. I wasn't the first foreign model. I was the first foreign man model to work for Hyundai Home Shopping, but there was other foreign models. But at that time, like all the models were like Russian or Ukrainian, so a lot of them, their English wasn't so great as well anyways, so we couldn't communicate like really well, but they were like really cool people. I tried to like just adventure more into Korea to make friends, but like at that time there wasn't that many foreigners, so like everyone stared at you. Sometimes people, like I had more muscles then because I was working out, you know, and they would like touch my arms or touch my chest, and it's like seeing like a wild animal for the first time or something like that. So it's totally different than now. Now I have long hair and tattoos, so people like look at me for that, but except that, I mean, they're not looking at me because I'm a foreigner or like they've never seen a foreigner before, so it's totally different. Yeah,
that's one of my questions that I wanna ask you. You've been here for 22 years, so you had to see how Korea has changed in the past like 22 years. Has changed a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Especially with foreigners. You think they are more open-minded to foreigners more than like 22 years ago?
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah, 2001.
Are they more open-minded? I don't know. They have more exposure, you know what I mean? Because even now, even with as many foreigners here, with as many models as there are, they still have a lot of issues and a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You know, I was vice president of an organization called DACA, which is Diverse Models of Korea. And basically, we would go to the streets and have protests and demonstrations for the Korean government to respect and to understand foreign artists and models as, you know, the same as Korean. Because we're here, we're on a visa, we're paying taxes, we deserve to have the same protections and same services that the Korean people have. And so I did a lot of advocacy work and you know, human rights things. We petitioned to United Nations to also look into how the model industry is here in Korea, because it's very predatory and you don't really have anybody to be able to speak to if you have any issues.
Yeah, especially because also you have to learn Korean, because if you don't speak Korean, it's even more difficult try to speak to anyone.
Yeah, you have to speak Korean, and the thing is, you know, your visa is based on your agency, and if your agency is getting stress from you because, you know, they're not treating you properly and you're standing up to them, they're not going to renew your visa. And then if you need a lawyer, you need to be able to pay the lawyer, and paying the lawyer in return to what you're going to get back is not going to be balanced, so it's not even really worth it. The agencies understand this very clearly, and so that's why we petition with the government to make, you know, certain agencies, like government agencies, to be able to support us, you know, hotlines for us to be able to call and let them know that, you know, we have a manager that is treating us, you know, especially for women, you know, harassment and rape cases and things like that. I'm not saying that everyone does that, but that does happen. And they need someone to be able to contact, you know, they need to have support.
Totally agree with that.
I have my own visa. I'm a freelancer, so I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a bit different. And I've been here such a long time. I speak Korean, and most people, you know, agencies already know about my history, so they don't really want to bother me. You know what I mean? They know I've been around a long time and worked with a lot of the biggest agencies, so I don't really get any of those issues. I think the biggest difference is that when I came here 22 years ago, people didn't think that we would stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now as the time has gone by, more and more and more foreigners are showing up, and more foreigners are wanting to stay here. What can you do? You know, K-pop is at the top of the world right now. K-dramas, K-movies, it's all up there. Everyone's loving it in the rest of the world.
Sure.
So if you're going to export all of this, you have to be ready to receive what you're going to get back in return. So if you want to tell them, come because we have this great place and this great culture, and you need to be able to offer them, you know, a good service to be able to work here in peace.
I'm totally agree. Especially, I think K-pop started with like for Korean people, like K-pop, Korean pop music. But in the past, maybe 6, 7, 8 years, it's becoming to be like a product to anyone but not Korean. That's something that I just noticed in the past 5 years, maybe because I was posting about K-pop music. But now I think the K-pop is just like for outside of Korea.
Yeah, I mean,
But they don't really listen that much as maybe people outside of Korea.
absolutely. That's kind of like my biggest thing that I've been talking with the government. I even went to Congress and spoke with the National Assembly last December, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to tell them. It's great that you want to export, you know, Korean culture, and I mean they do. They use BTS as the spokespeople of Korea, and that's fine. But then what do you want in return? Do you want people to come? If you want people to come, then how are you going to support the people that come here?
Yeah.
And so they're starting to listen and to come around, and we'll see. There's a few new visa ideas that might come into play, maybe freelancer visas and things like that, which would definitely change the industry here a lot, because then you wouldn't have to rely on the agency. And if you don't have to rely on the agency, then that takes away a lot of the predatory situation that people could be in. When you have the agency and they're no good, but you need them, what can you do?
Yeah.
Can't do anything. I understand that, you know, for a lot of people, this is still their dream. And so I'm not going to like push anyone down, you know?
No.
So I guess the best thing that I can do, because I have a platform, is that to try to help the government understand that no matter what, for now on, more people are going to keep coming. So let's just do our best to protect the people that want to enjoy Korea. Doesn't really make much sense to me, because I mean, Korea right now in the top, you know, countries in the world has the lowest birth rate, which means that they're going to need foreigners, and before you know it, everyone's going to be mixed. As much as Korean people might hate to hear that, it is what it is.
And it's something that is going to happen.
Right, they're going to have to import workers. Well, if you import workers, you import new people, and then Korean people are going to meet with these workers, and it's just going to get mixed up, and that's just how it's going to go. So instead of just waiting for that situation, let's be proactive about the situation, and let's, you know, do it in the best way while we have time to think and plan it, and not when it's already becoming too much of an issue to deal with.
Yeah, you got to start now.
Right.
Did you expect to speak about these kind of things?
No, but I speak about anything, you know, like we talked before. You wanted the real story about Korea. Like I expect to speak the real story.
The real story. That's why I'm doing this kind of interview. I want to speak to, you know, if you like the way he thinks, and also the art and the things he's doing. Just, you know, of course, you got the social media, and you want to follow him. Just follow him because he's a nice guy. And also, we are friends. Chingu.
Right. Chingu, amigos.
And I can learn a lot of things from you. That's why, like I just said, I want to do this interview because I want to show the real Korea. Not the Korea about K-pop, K-drama, cosmetics, not only the good things. I want to, you know, the bad things and also the good things.
That's right. Here's the thing. Like, I might seem negative about certain things, but I've been here for 22 years. I wouldn't be here for 22 years if I thought it was a shit place. You know, there are things I wish that could change, but, you know, I just want to be honest. I will tell you the things that I love. I'll tell you the things that are not so good. I'll tell you things that I don't like. But I'm not going to be like, Korea is the greatest place ever, you know?
Yeah, of course.
I'm American. America's not the greatest place ever. There is no greatest place ever. Every place has its good and has its bads. And so if you want to know anything about Korea, business, modeling, fashion, artwork, whatever, like you can ask me anytime.
You told me you had a coffee shop. Maybe we can visit in.
Yeah,
we
for
can
sure.
Grab a coffee in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We'll go in the car.
It was easy for you being a foreigner, trying to make business here with Korean people, trying to make your own stuff, not modeling. Like your coffee shop, the shop you already have here.
Yeah.
At the beginning, was it difficult for you?
So all of these shops, well, my coffee shop I do with an American friend. My clothing shop I do by myself. In my restaurant before I do by myself. So I used to be part owner of a model agency, 5 bars and 2 restaurants with Korean people. It's not easy to work with Korean people because business and friendship doesn't work, but also culture differences. You know, I'm very strict with the way that I do my business. I'm very strict with how I expect my employees to act. They should be friendly. They should care about people. One thing about American culture, at least in my opinion, is that usually, I don't know about nowadays because I've been here for 22 years, but before I came here, people were friendly when you went to a restaurant or somewhere. They would say hello, how are you doing? And and they'd have a smile, you know? And so for me, I think in the service industry, it's important for my employees to also be friendly to our customers. You don't need to ask about their wife or their dogs or anything like that, but hello, how are you? Welcome to our coffee shop or whatever it is. You know, some of my partners think that those things are not important, and there's just other things that we just used to fight a lot about were not really negotiable for me for having a successful business. And so I just decided from then on that I would just do business by myself, because I win by myself or I fail by myself. But I don't want to fail in a business because I have other people, you know, they're not allowing me to be successful.
Wow.
And I was feeling that way in some of my other ventures, that they like the idea of having the bar more than actually having the business. You know, maybe they already had enough money, and if they didn't make money, it didn't matter to them. For me, anything that I do it to be successful. I do it to be the best bar, the best restaurant, just how I am. And so I felt that they just wanted to be able to say, I own a bar. Hey, come to my bar, let's have drinks at my bar. That's not why I do business. And so I just decided from now on, I'll do business by myself or with someone who is very similar to me.
I've been here for 7 months, and I just noticed, like, I've noticed the Korean, especially Korean. I'm not talking about my Korean friend, but they were living in outside Korea. That's the Korean. They think in a very different way, and it's kind of difficult for you at the beginning, maybe trying to, like, you know, just to, tienes que aflojar algunas veces tú y algunas veces tiene que aflojar él, pero ellos nunca van a aflojar.
It's true, because I think I felt that way. As a foreigner, as a Korean, they always told me, this is Korea. I know Korea better than you. I know what Korean people want. Maybe you do, but maybe you just don't understand business. You know, there's a difference between knowing what Korean people want and giving people what they want, you know? And so when I had like some ideas how to make the business better, it's, oh no, that'll never work in Korea. But guess what? I'm doing those ideas by myself with my own businesses, and I'm doing just fine, you know? So it was just bullshit. It's just they didn't want to feel like they were losing power, or if they use my ideas too much, they don't want to feel like the business is successful because of me.
Yeah.
So there's always this kind of like power struggle, you know? If you want to have a business and you want to have business partners and you want to be successful, you can't have any ego. Whoever has the good idea, be grateful that someone has a good idea, because it needs all the minds working at 100% to be successful. If someone wants to be on top, you're never going to work, because they're always going to bring everyone down. If everyone cares about the business the same, they're all just doing as much as I can and bringing each other up and working, oh, that was a great idea, and what about this? Oh yeah, and you just keep adding up, and then you can be successful.
Yeah.
If you notice when you walk around Korea, how many coffee shops do you see? How many restaurants do you see with no one inside? With not one customer inside?
A lot.
All the time. And that's the difference between me and them, is that it's like they're okay with that. They just in their brain think like someday it's gonna get full. You know, they're not really doing anything for marketing. They're not sitting there and thinking like, what can I do? How can I make it better? How can I make it better? I need to do something. They just keep letting it be empty and empty and empty until they can't pay rent and it's done. In Taiwan, every business lasts about 6 months, maximum 1 year because of this shit. They just, I got an idea, I'm gonna make a restaurant. It's the best restaurant, no one's ever tried it before. And they do it. They spend $100,000 and before you know it, no one's there.
No one's there, yeah.
And instead of doing everything they can,
trying to
they won't, because they think as a business owner, there is a position of power and respect that I need to have. I'm never gonna go outside and, hey, come to my restaurant, hey, have a name card, or hold a sign, hey, please join, you know?
I will never understand this kind of thing.
If it's my business and I know in 2 more months I'm done,
I will be there.
I'll get naked and write on my body, come to my restaurant, I'll do what it takes, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, not talking like most of them, no? We're talking about the restaurant, the coffee shop that we saw that fucking empty because there's no people and they're waiting for like, yeah, maybe tomorrow there's a lot of people coming. But nah, maybe today is not a you know, a good day, but maybe tomorrow. But it's not the way it is. You're not gonna make money at the next month. You can try. You should keep trying every single month, of course. But you have to think like this business is gonna be worth it maybe in 2 years, or maybe 3, or maybe 4. And don't give up, never. Like don't expect to anyone just come to your place or your business just blow up by lucky or something. You know?
Well, I mean, I think that social media has gave a lot of false hope to people. You know, they just keep posting their restaurant or something, and they think like maybe that post is going to get viral and that's what's going to happen. But I mean, it does happen sometimes, but that's like almost like winning the lottery. TikTok, Instagram has polluted a lot of people's mind to think that things will be easier than they really are. Nothing's easy. You need to work hard for it. And if you do get lucky, great for you, but you can't build your business hoping that, you know, social media is going to be the one that's going to make you famous.
The worst experience for you, but also one of the best things in Korea?
The worst experience for me, I mean, continual experience is that no matter what, I will always be a foreigner.
Wow.
It doesn't matter how well I speak Korean, doesn't matter how much taxes I pay, doesn't matter. I lived here for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. This is a foreigner's face and I will always be a foreigner. And that's kind of sad because I give more than half my life, you know, in this country, surviving here, making great friends, doing my business. I learned how to be a man, learned how to be an adult here. I moved here when I was 19 years old. It was a baby. I was just finished high school. For me, that's the hardest thing is that no matter what, I'll always be a foreigner. And like, you want to fit in and be normal part of the culture and the society that you live in.
Trying to do your best to understand how they think, how they work, how they feel, how every single thing, but at the same time, even you speak Korean like very, very good, like they will see like foreigner. No one spoke to me about this because I think most of my friends, they you know,
they don't care.
They don't really care, or maybe they don't live here for a long time.
Right. For me, I have like, so I'm also the president of the Yongsan Fine Arts Association. I'm also the vice president for a nonprofit organization. I'm trying to do things to make this country, you know, a more suitable place. And I'm trying to help elevate, you know, to just be looked at like I'm just another foreigner that's here to get drunk or to party, or you're just a model or something like that. It's kind of sad because I worked very hard, many long hours for other people, not for myself. Actually, for me, I have my position in this society. I already said I'm the president of the Yongsan Fine Arts Association. I don't need to do any of these other things for, you know, supporting the local artists and foreign artists. I don't need to, but it's important to me because I don't think that everyone needs to struggle the way that I struggled just because they're a foreigner.
Yes.
Of course, you have to work hard, you have to develop your craft, you have to be a good artist, but you don't need to struggle just because you look a certain way. And if I can help change that, then, you know, that's what makes me happy. You know, making my art, selling my artwork pays my bills, and that also makes me happy, but that's not for my soul. You know what I mean? That's not for my heart. You know, helping other people, like, it's a different kind of happiness. After we speak, and then I speak Korean, and then I explain myself, then it's like, oh shit, right? You know, or it just takes a conversation. Because I speak Korean, and then I let them know who I am and what I do and the positions that I have.
Básicamente se refiere a que la gente lo ve como extranjero y quizás al principio tienen una percepción negativa de él, pero cuando hablan y lo conocen es cuando realmente todo cambia. Es cuestión de tener una simple conversación. Quizás algunos solamente juzgan a primera vista, lo cual ocurre en cualquier lugar del mundo.
And then it changes very quickly. I don't really like to go that way because I'm just James. You know, you met me already. I never spoke to you that I'm president of this or vice president of that. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just a normal guy. But most of the times I don't care because, to be honest, if they want to just think of me like that, they're probably not important to me anyways and not going to be important for me. And it makes it easier for me to just know, nice, get out of my face. You know what I mean? Because I meet so many people every day to have to decide, you know, who's good and not bad. I let them do that for me. You know, if they want to like think that I'm nothing because of, you know, I'm just a foreigner or something like that, even better. Then I don't have to waste my energy, you know, thinking is he a good person or not. Yeah, right. Here's the thing about Korea. If you want to live in Korea happily, all the things that you don't really like, just understand that's the way it is. If you think that you're going to change it or it's going to change or anything like that, you will be unhappy the whole time that you're here. Yeah, one of my biggest questions that everyone asks me right away when they find out that I've been here 22 years, fuck, you must love Korea. You've been here 22 years. Man, it's not about loving Korea. You know, one, it works for me. I've spent a lot of time here. I made a good life for myself. But like I said, in Korea, there's so many things I don't understand. And the reason I can survive is because I don't need to understand it. Think that you need to understand something and you can understand it, that you get pissed off about it. Okay, they do things like this. That's all I need to understand. This is the way it's done here. Why is it done like that? To be honest, a lot of people don't even know. Well, because my grandma and my grandpa and great-grandpa did it like that, and it's just the way it's done. And it hasn't changed. I mean, you have to understand that in Korea, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, there was nothing. Then there was the war here, and the country developed in just like 2 generations. So you go from living a very country life to being one of the top nations in the world, and the minds could not progress as fast as the economy. And that's not a bad thing, that's normal. You know, how can you expect someone to change just by one day? You know, it's like anyone that's from a small countryside going into the big city, they're not going to understand how to fit in and how to function right away. But for, you know, Western countries that have already been living in this way, we expect, you know, things to be a certain way, and it's not, because 60 years ago wasn't done like that. Well, 60 years ago in the United States, it was done like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so it's unfair for us to just expect things to be a certain way. That's why I said, I don't try to understand it, that's just the way it is. And gradually, things will develop in the way that it's supposed to be. But if I want to be upset about all of these different little things that, you know, don't make sense to me, then I'll just be pissed off all the time.
Also, I try to speak with my people about these
Yeah.
kind of things. Yeah, like you said, like 60, 70 years, this country was nothing. Like, it was so poor. It was even so difficult to anyone find anything for you know, for eat, and just blow up in like 2 generations. Sometimes I say to my people, you gotta understand, like, the old mindset here. It's because they came from a very poor country.
As much as Korea gets exported,
Yeah.
Western culture gets imported, you know? So it's just a different way of thinking with every generation. You know, I started off as a recycle artist. That's why I have this tattoo. It's my brand logos. It's the recycle arrows. In the middle is the mother nature, it's the tree, and the birds are for good luck.
Aquí se acaba la primera parte. En la segunda veremos su estudio, el arte que hace para celebridades en Corea del Sur y más sobre a lo que se dedica. ¿Será que llegamos a 2000 likes antes de que suba la segunda parte? Compartidlo con vuestros amigos, dejad vuestro comentario del momento favorito del vídeo o simplemente de lo que realmente opinas de todo lo que hemos hablado sobre Corea del Sur. Comenta si sabías sobre todo esto o si es algo nuevo para ti y prepárate porque vienen 2 partes más. Nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo. Un besazo.